Steals my entire vegetable garden, by user Razakit. We have a not so small vegetable garden in the backyard of my family's house. Me and my mom are the gardeners, and we grow a bunch of zucchini, snap peas, herbs, broccoli, carrots, tomatoes, and even grapes with the occasional other vegetables, radishes, bell peppers, etc. One day I hear something outside my window, which is right above the largest planter box in our garden. I look outside and see two kids from the neighborhood picking vegetables from the planter box. I run out and see the two of them have their arms full of zucchini and carrots and even some tomatoes. I ask what on earth are they doing, and they said we live in the neighborhood. I told them that those are our vegetables, and they can't take them. They just said it's our neighborhood too, we can have them if we want, and they took off before I could stop them, literally vaulting over the small fence that separates our side yard from the neighbors, different neighbors, not the ones that were stealing. A few days later I heard something outside my window again, and I look out and see the kid's mom loading a basket with vegetables from the planter. I again rush out and see that her and her kids are loading baskets with everything they could grab. I watched as the mom grabbed a handful of the chives I had been growing, and ripped them out roots and all. My mom must have heard me run out, because she came out as well. She yelled, asking what they think they were doing, and the kids just kept picking vegetables, while the mom just turned annoyed. It's everyone's neighborhood, and we need the food, she said, still picking from the garden, and desecrating my prized chives. My mom told her that if she had just asked, we would have given the some, and even if it is everyone's neighborhood, is our garden. She just huffed and left with her kids, and there wasn't anything we could do. Our garden was damaged beyond repair. Our zucchini plants were torn to bits, and the peas and tomatoes were trampled and shredded, and our grape bush that we had for years was broken at the base, where one of them had stepped on it. There were no fresh vegetables that year, and my mom couldn't make her chocolate chip zucchini bread. A few days later we installed a lock on the backyard fence, and the neighbors came banging on our door, mad that we installed a lock preventing them from getting into our garden. My mom just told them to go away, and if she saw them in our garden again she would call the cops. We thankfully never saw them again, and our garden is happy now, and we managed to bring the grapes back to life. A little while ago, we planted some blueberry bushes in our front yard. Someone keeps stealing them, and half the blueberries are gone each season. We let the kids in the neighborhood eat them, but they only take maybe like 8 to 10 each a day on weekends or during the summer. There are 10 bushes in total, about 100 to 150 blueberries each. I wonder who is taking 500 blueberries every year. We haven't caught them yet, but everyone knows. Tells me to change my jacket because it's too tight, by user Mutsukiken. So yesterday I decided to go ice skating with a friend. After skating around for a little bit I noticed this one kid kept looking at me. Kind of weird but okay. After skating around for a little longer I noticed this one lady staring daggers at me, so I decided stupidly to go over. Me, excuse me why are you staring at me? Why the hell are you dressed like that, this is a park. Me, I know. Why is your jacket so tight? Why do you want to show off your chest so badly? Me, what? Change your jacket. You're going to give my child evil thoughts. Now at this point you may be wondering, as was myself, why haven't I left yet? The answer, I'm too stubborn. Me, I think I'm dressed appropriately. It seems like your problem if me wearing a jacket makes your son horny. He's a good Christian kid and shouldn't be near SL*TS like you. Me, he's like 15? Sexual thoughts are normal for his age. He's. Me, so what exactly do you want me to do? Just take off that slutty jacket. Me, your wish is my command. I took off my jacket and tossed it to her, to which she realized I was only wearing a sports bra. Me, so does this make yo? You little bitch. I meant change your jacket. Me, I'm supposed that's the first time you've interrupted me. People like you don't usually do that. What do you mean people like you? Me, bitches. Can I have my jacket back now? At this point my completely socially unaware friend came over. My friend seemed to realize this was an argument, so he decided to not speak in English. Friend, in Japanese, it's below freezing, why are you in your bra? Me, also in Japanese, this lady decided my jacket was too sexy for her son. What the hell are you saying about me? Me, that you're a bitch. It finally came to my dumb ass brain that I can just leave. So I did. I snatched my jacket back and left to ice skate. The kid came to apologize but could barely get a word out. Edit, for anyone saying it's fake, cool. Think whatever you want. Reddit is the last place I feel the need to prove myself. Entitled Mom Makes Bogus 911 Call, by user AthleticArt0515. I will say this, when I hit 15/16 my gran pulled me out of school because she thought keeping the house clean was more important than my education. She has to have it spotless. She's had several home health aides walk out because their job isn't cleaning, it's nursing. She also would force me to go 3 or more days in between showers because that's what she had to do once she lost her mobility. She always plays the victim, everything is always about her. Update, so my mom and grandma haven't been charged yet and honestly I don't think they will be. My mom calls for bogus wellness checks all the time and has never faced consequences even though she has several charges for misses of emergency services from another county. The judge never does anything with them. The officers that came Sunday were furious because they really thought my home was on fire. I live in one of only 4 Commonwealth states and here a magistrate has to approve an order of protection, you can't just file it yourself. We've attempted in the past to get a PO and have been denied. Hopefully we can put our home on the market this summer or spring. We have a home a few towns over that we can stay in but they know where that is as well. My mom has attempted numerous times this week to have my phone turned off even though it's a contract in my name and my husband's. She's been successful with that in the past as well. I about panic every time the doorbell rings because I know it's either the police or one of my mom's brothers. 2 of the 3 uncles have tried forcing me to go tend to gran on numerous occasions. Thank God we work for ourselves because I've been fired in the past because of my mom calling and cussing my employer out. They also feel like my money is theirs, with both my mom and my gran making comments about how I need to be helping them financially. I made the choice last year to move in with my now spouse because I was miserable, it was like I was a prisoner or something. My gran would call 911 if I went out anywhere to do something that didn't involve helping her. Last July I had my gallbladder removed and my narcs got angry because they thought I had prescribed pain medication and they wanted them. I told them I didn't have any, which I did but that's illegal so. Yeah, they called the police and even when we showed the officers then the texts where they'd threatened me with law enforcement if I didn't give up my medication nothing came out of it. The police act like we are in the wrong. Entitled Mom Makes Bogus 911 Call. So, this literally just happened. It's 9:41 am here on the East Coast on a Sunday morning and I was woken up at 5:50 am this morning by 6 police officers at my door. I heard my doorbell ring and immediately panicked. I was afraid they were coming to tell me something bad had taken place, but apparently my mom called the police department and told them my house was on fire. For the backstory. I walked out on my mom and grandma about 6 months ago. I spent my teenage years being my gran's caretaker, dropping out of school and even dealt with them using my social security number to acquire things on credit that they never paid for. I finally got most of that fixed, but not without angering them. My mom looked at it like I was ruining my gran's reputation. When I walked out, it left my gran's children, 3 sons, and my mom to finally take care of her and they all went ballistic on me because apparently it was my responsibility. They started calling my job, having wellness checks done and trying to get my husband arrested. This morning, when I opened the door an officer was standing there and said they'd gotten a very quick and abrupt 911 call stating there was a fire at my address. I told him I had just woken up and that nothing was wrong. I had my phone in my hand and showed him that I hadn't called any more today. He asked who had the number with the last 40000, I immediately knew who it was. I explained the situation to them and the officers got angry, as there was 6 of them total. The officer asked why my family was doing this and I told him. He said he was going to check into and would call me. He called back about 8:30 am. He said he'd made contact with my mom and grandma and they immediately got defensive. He says he's going to see about pressing charges against them for abuse of emergency services and that when he told them this, they started blaming me, trying to deflect. Apparently my gran even asked if the officer thought it was right I wasn't helping her. The officer told her I was an adult with a right to my own life and that they couldn't impede on that right. Apparently my gran mentioned her nephew who works as a prosecutor for the state and said she'd be calling him about this. The officer told her to go ahead, that his body camera had recorded everything and gran got upset about being recorded. I told him they've done everything they can to intimidate me into returning to their home and he said he'd told them that harassing someone because they won't do what they ask is also a crime. Gran doesn't like it when people tell her she isn't above the law. Now I've gotten a shield order issued, meaning law enforcement won't come unless I call them. The officer also said he'd be in touch with the magistrate about my husband filing charges against these two for trying to get him arrested under false pretenses and slander, because they put lies on social media about him. Guys, I am just done with this. I have lived the last 6 months of my life in fear, waiting for the police to come at night. It's a small town, so thankfully this morning the officer is a new recruit and young. The older officers have sided and been sympathetic with Gran before I even had one officer tell me since she'd taken care of me I needed to help her. M ruins her daughter's chance at a career, by user Mortgage striking 9343. I have been lurking in this sub for a long time, never thought I would be sharing a story about our own entitled parents here. Some info are second-hand info, so it might not be the most accurate. Context: I work in a small-sized company. With the amount of clients increasing, we decided to hire an additional team member at an entry-level position to help us. The mandatory requirement for it is fluency in a specific foreign language. There was this candidate, we'll call her Abby. She graduated from university for a year already, but has no work experience, no internships, and no extracurriculum activities during university. She was, however, quite good academically. During the interview, it is pretty obvious she is a bit sheltered. But out of all the other candidates, she is the most suitable one for our team's current needs. We were worried about her ability to coordinate/communicate within the team and some other social skills, but we figured we'd give her a chance and see because her language ability is what we're after anyway. Here is where the M comes in. We called Abby in for a second interview and my supervisor asked our HR to offer her the job. On the phone, when HR mentioned her salary, Abby paused for a moment, then suddenly the M took over the phone and asked to speak instead. The M was complaining why our company's salary offer was less than other companies. She complained that her daughter deserves more, that others would give more for her language ability. Do you know what is the standard salary for someone like her? No law firms would offer her this rate, it should be this and that. Disclaimer: we're not law firms, we're business consultancy. Our HR told us that the M sounds like a fake posh, like those entitled mothers who tries hard to brag to other people how rich/successful they are. At the end of the conversation, the M just said, "Let us think about it, we'll call back next week, my daughter has other places to consider," or something along this line. My supervisor decided to cancel the offer. Honestly, if we actually hire Abby, there could be more problem with her mother in the future. We were all pretty dumbfounded by this interaction and particularly, this M. I was a bit bummed out because we were actually quite excited to have Abby in our team. Now I did not know exactly how much was offered by my supervisor, but my company offers a pretty competitive salary for our location, outside of the major city, with good benefits and a solid raise and bonus policy. I just don't know how much M were expecting. Her daughter didn't even did that well during the interview. We were very lenient because she has absolutely no experiences and never even mentioned any transferable skills at all. Just one day after the phone conversation, the M calls our HR back. And guess what the M said? "Well, you know, your company's offer seems reasonable. We'll accept it." It's not even the daughter that calls back. Me and my colleague is just laughing at this point. Well, our HR said she'll check with my supervisor. My supervisor is just, "Yeah, no, I'm not having it, just no." Talk about sabotaging your daughter's chances. I am quite sympathetic towards Abby. The position would suit her interest on the academic side, and it's even a very good chance for her to learn and grow in joining the workforce in the society. Unbelievably, M has to interfere and ruin her chances. I doubt other companies, or law firms, would accept Abby, at least not soon. Most employers in the field, that M seem to be looking for Abby, are brutal during interviews, even for entry levels. I doubt M cares though, they are well off looking at the university Abby goes to. M visits a tattoo parlor, by user raised anchor 68. Many years ago, my boss got a call to do a quote at a tattoo parlor. We went the next afternoon and met the owner, who I will call Tess, although this was not her real name. She took us round the parlor, telling us what she wanted while my boss took notes. We were in a room behind the studio when one of her workers came in and told her in a fairly decent impression of Jack Nicholson from Batman, "I've gotta live one here." Tess left to sort it out, and while my boss worked out the quote, I went to the doorway to look into the studio to see what was happening. I could see Tess talking with a woman, M, and her teenage daughter who looked to be about 14 or 15. M wanted her daughter to get a tattoo, but Tess said she was too young, by law. M said she was giving Tess permission and Tess said she needed the law's permission, which she did not have. The M did not seem bothered by trivial legalities and kept repeating that she was allowing her daughter to get the tattoo as apparently parental permission overrides all ethical laws. Tess was not swayed and held her ground. The to and fro went on long enough for my boss to join me near the doorway as he had finished writing up the quote. The M's voice was getting louder to the point of screaming and her face getting redder as she kept repeating that she said it was okay. Tess remained unfazed and kept her voice at the same volume as she repeated that the law said it was not okay. This was apparently not her first rodeo while M looked as if she was about to explode. The daughter then grabbed her mother's arm and led her to the doorway. M left with a parting shot that they were taking their business elsewhere. This did not seem to bother Tess as much it was meant to as she calmly came back to see if we had finished the quote.